Please welcome Mike Shinoda.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you here.
Your crowd is really loud.
Oh yeah, this is. Are you kidding me? This is the best crowd in Lakeland. What? Does it make you jealous? Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's why it was surprising. It's like, oh, it's much louder than my.
You say that, but you know that's not true. I've been lucky enough to see some of your live shows, and your audience is loving everything that you're doing. Before we get into the current album, let's talk a little bit about your journey moving into being a solo artist. You're back on stage again.
Yeah.
You know, the journey of Linkin Park and yourself has been one with many ups and downs, many emotions attached to it.
Yeah.
What has it been like getting back on stage again?
You know, in the beginning, after Chester passed, I think for weeks, I didn't leave my house. It was hard for me to, I grew up drawing and painting and making music, and it was hard for me to do any of those things. And so, fast forwarding a bit, like the idea of getting on stage was just like, it was impossible, Today, to be able to go out and do shows it's like, for me, it's like a personal, it's this victory, it's like this miraculous thing. And one of the things that drives me to do it is the knowledge that I've been through something that's while it's unique in some senses because it's on this larger scale,
right?
It's universal in a sense that we all lose somebody, we all go through tragedy and trauma, and I feel like I made a decision early on to share that with people and talk about it in the open.
Right, and you've rarely spoken about that as much as you can. When the news came out that Chester Bennington of Linkin Park had taken his own life, people were traumatized. People always ask similar questions. And what I've really admired about your message is that you've come out and said, hey, let's figure out a way to remove the stigma that anyone might have around any mental health issue. That's really been key for you.
Thank you. The thing about it, it was so weird to be given a membership to this club that I never wanted to be a part of.
Right.
It was something that I didn't have so much experience with in terms of these things that we're now talking about. And I think for me, what I've learned along the way, one thing I've learned is that in terms of mental health, we talk often now about it being like physical health.
Right.
Right. So you wake up in the morning, if you have a physical, say you've got a bad back. You wake up in the morning, your back kind of hurts. You go, oh, I need to take it easy today. You might wake up and say, oh, it's a little bit worse than I thought. I need to take some medication today.
Right.
And then if it's even worse than that, wow, I really need to see a doctor today.
Right.
Mental health should be the same way. Mental health is just health. So and the way that we get to that point is to actually check in with ourselves and say, oh, do I need to take it easy? Do I need medication? Do I need to see a professional? Those are things you can do. Above all, I think the number one, the gateway into all of that is just being able to talk about it.
Right.
And so that's one thing that, having a conversation like this, putting an album out like this, and even on stage, I find myself kind of talking maybe too much.
I find, can I tell you that's what I found is one of the most beautiful things about your performances now on stage. As we get into the album, you've written an album that really is a diary of your feelings, your journey. And when you're performing live with the audience, it's been really beautiful to see how there's a family now with Linkin Park fans where it seems like you're having a conversation intermittently through the music. Has that become therapeutic for yourself and the fans in a way?
Yeah, I feel like every show I do, every performance, a whole concert at a venue or just a couple songs. Today I did something at an Apple store. I did 3 songs.
Right.
And it does feel like there's a communal element, there's a family element. One thing that I think people maybe they forgot about or they didn't know about our fans and our band is it kind of always has been that way.
Right.
People just didn't know. Ever since the beginning, because when Hybrid Theory, our first album, came out, however many years ago, it was when the label told us, you guys, your album was the best-selling album on the planet this year. And we all looked at them where's the punchline? Oh, it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, right. And people literally, people grew up with this thing, and over a course of different albums, it was one of those things where it was a cultural family.
Right.
Yeah.
It really has felt like that. And in the songs that you've written here, has it been tough for you? People, I think, thinking that every single song is about pain and every song is about Chester. Because, I mean, I know that people do that with music all the time. If you're in a situation, whenever people hear the music, they go like, oh, is this also about that? Is it also about that? Was that hard for you to navigate? Or
you notice it a lot. You notice a lot if like, say, there's like a celebrity breakup.
Right.
Every cover is like, oh, he's wearing blue today because of the breakup. It's like, no, it's not like wearing blue, right? That happens to people all the time. So when it's something like this, the person we're talking about who wore blue, like that doesn't hurt if it doesn't bring them down that day.
Right.
For me, if I'm just going about my day and somebody's like, oh, he's doing that because of Chester, like that makes me feel like,
right, I can imagine.
It's so heavy. And I intentionally, as I made the album is 16 songs. It's a lot of music. And halfway through the album, the song you just played is Crossing a Line. That's the point at which I felt like in the music, and because this was true in my life in the last year, there was a point at which I was looking backward, and then there's a point at which it shifted towards the future, and even the present too, but also like there was a hope.
Right.
And I realized, oh, it's like, you get dealt a hand of cards, and you play them. You do your best with what you've got. And this isn't the outcome that I would have ever wanted, but if this is what I've got, then I'm going to look at it and see what's the best thing I can do with it, and actually, reaching out to fans in this way and having these types of conversations about mental health, about different things, I feel like that's, for me, a very productive way and a positive way to use the platform and to express my art.
Which is something you've always done. You've used your art. You're a graphic designer, you are a painter, you are a musician. I noticed in one of your performances this week, you performed a song. I believe you had written about your family's history, which was really intriguing for me. Like your grandparents, I believe, were in a Japanese internment camp. Is that true?
Correct. So this is a song not on the post-traumatic album. This is a song that I did a while back, and the song is called Kenji. My middle name is Kenji. My dad's family, being Japanese, he was what we say we call Nisei. He was the first generation born in the United States. And as you know, in the 40s, after Pearl Harbor, the government came and basically told everybody that anybody of Japanese descent or who kind of felt like they were Japanese.
Oh wow!
Got pulled.
That's a weird one to go with.
Not really cool, because there were people who weren't actually Japanese,
right.
And they're like, oh, you're close enough. You're coming to the camps. They took all the people on the West Coast. And where my family went first was, just imagine you're in your house and they say, okay, you're going. Pack 2 bags, you're out of here. And my family built up from nothing. They had built like this wonderful mercantile, barbershop, gas station, pool hall, like it was the center of town. And they were very successful. And they were told, you're out of here. 2 bags, get on the bus. Where are we going? They don't know. They took them to the Santa Anita racetrack and stuck them in the horse stalls. They stayed there while the government built barracks that were made of wood in the desert. There was no air conditioning, there was no heating. The stories that I remember hearing from my aunts and uncles were that they would wake up and shake the dust off of, like all the dirt and stuff off of their blankets. They'd go to set up their breakfast, and by the time they'd actually put the food down on the table, the dirt was back all over everything again. So these are the types of things, and when I hear these stories of the things that have gone on in the past week, for example, I immediately go to those memories of my aunts and uncles like telling these stories. It's really not that, first of all, it's really not that far back in time that this actually happened. I mean, it wasn't until the mid-'80s and under the Reagan administration that the US apologized officially for the thing. And yet here we are only a few decades later, saying, oh, we forgot all about that. Like, no, this is this is a totally different situation, though.
Right.
And it's not that different.
It's not that different. It's scary. It's not that different. And I'm really glad that you use your music and your platform to speak about it. The album is your first solo venture. What are you hoping people will take away? What do you hope people will understand about Mike on his own? People know you through Linkin Park, but what do you want people to know about you? Well,
as I started this album, I was just using art, the painting and the music as just therapy. It was meditative for me. And so the first thing is, like, if you're going through something difficult, like art therapy is very real. So I always encourage people to do that. Thank you. And I'd say the other thing is Chester was one of the best rock singers of all time, so let's not forget that. I didn't grow up celebrating like Dia de los Muertos, or in Japanese we have the Obon Festival. Like, I didn't really grow up doing those things or understanding those things, but to be able to look at the tragedy of the past and celebrate the, family members and friends we've lost, and then take our thing, as I said, the cards that we've been dealt, and do something positive with them. There's a lot of, there's a wonderful feeling that comes from that, especially when you're doing it not in a selfish way. You're doing it for other people and connecting this community. I feel like this is my effort. It's the beginning of an effort to do that.
It's an amazing effort, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. Post-Traumatic is available now. Mike Shinoda, everybody.